Okay, what I want to do on this video is I'm going to tell you about the target system I use, that I've kind of developed, although it's not, I mean, it's my idea, but I do use one thing out of it that's not something that I made. I use the Reversa rods, and that you can actually stick in the ground, or if you're, in lawn or grass or whatever. But where I live here in Las Vegas, going out to the desert, or even to some of the shooting ranges here, the ground is way too hard. Nothing but rock and a little bit of sand and lots of rock. It's just really not feasible to try to stick them in the ground. So I built my bases. I have two different kinds, and I'll show you both. And I bought both sizes of Reversa rods. One of them is, one's short, one's long. And I'll show you how I use them, what I developed, and how I lay everything out, what I do. And you can see how it works, okay? I'm going to go off camera because it's I don't want to really try to hold the camera on the tripod and do all this stuff. It's just a little bit easier to do it this way. Okay, these are the two bases. This was the first version that I built. It's something more than 3/4 inch plywood with some 4x4 blocks on it. And there's a reason why these have holes both ways. I'll show you that here. There's the other one with the holes 4 ways. Now the second version I built is like this. And you notice that it's got 4x4 all the way across the front. The board's a little bit deeper. It's actually 5/8 plywood, or that, whatever you want to call that kind of wood. It's plywood. It's all plywood that comes in sheets as far as I'm concerned. Now there's 4 sets of holes on here, as you can see. And one is wide, one is narrow. Same thing over here, and there's a reason for that. Okay, now let's go back here. Here are my 2 sets of the Reversa rods, the long ones and the short ones. And I'll show you how those work. Actually, you know how they work, how it's going to work, but I'll show you why I have the different holes in them. Okay, let me set up one way and we'll go from there. Okay, there's the first setup. I don't use, Reversa has their own targets made out of corrugated cardboard that you can buy. I bought them to start with. I bought one set, and I just didn't, they weren't, to me, they just weren't, what's the word I'm looking for, appropriate for the kind of shooting I do. Reversa, if you happen to see this or anybody from Reversa, take note. What I use is foam core, 20 by 30, and I can buy it at these dollar stores for $1 a sheet, which is not bad. And the targets on them are targets that I design, I print. These are printed on sticky back paper and then stuck on here. I lay it out with pencil and then stick everything on it. Now that's just one way of doing it, and I'll show you a couple other ways here in just a second. The first thing I want to do is move it over to the other target, the other stand, so you can see the other reason for it. Okay, there is the other way. This is on the inside of the holes of the 2 sets that I showed you before. That way you can put the target the long way. You can do it either way, it doesn't matter. Same target, just turned 90 degrees, and that way you can do whatever you want this way with it, especially if you're at longer distances and you only put a target in the middle, or whatever, a larger target. And of course your elevation is probably going to be a little bit goofy, so this gives you a chance to see your shots. Now you can actually draw targets. I've done it several times. Anyway, that's how it works. Now we'll go into go back to the other one, and I'll show you what the other holes are for. Okay, now you can see the rods are put into the other holes, going the other way, and the reason for that is that now you can see that I can put a rod through there. That one just happens to be a piece of wood dowel. You can use rebar or whatever, thicker. You can even use a heavier dowel. And now you can hang targets from it, steel targets, whatever you want to do. I make them out of styrofoam balls. I don't have any to show you, but I make them out of styrofoam balls and hang them on there. And if you have a little bit of a breeze, they move a little bit, and it makes it a little bit tougher to hit them. So that's why I do that. Okay, what I'm going to show you first is how I do my targets when I'm shooting. I use the small spring clips like these, and I use the smallest I can find, and these are the smallest they make because they're less apt to get hit. Now, you know, I understand that some people are going to say, well, geez, if you're that good of a shot, you shouldn't have to hit them. Well, I've only ever hit one, and that was when I was sighting in, and it just disappeared. I don't know whatever happened to it. It flew off, and that was the last I ever saw of it. Okay, now take these off of here. Let's move on to these. And I don't know, I've got two of them here, and I don't know if you can actually see them that well. There's lines on here, and what I do is I print my own targets. I design and print my own targets, as I said before, and those pencil lines on there is to actually set the targets on there like that. That's when they're just a guide, really. And then we put another one next to it like that. And I leave some space over here at the side because you need that space for the clamps on the rods. And another one there like that. And then you just clip them on. It's not hard to do. Like that. I only need one for the two of them. And I usually do these before I go out to the range. And if I'm going to change them, what I'll do, sometimes I'll make 3 or 4, at least 4 different setups like that. Now you've seen the clips along the top. I do the same thing along the bottom. And it's ready to go, ready to shoot. So I've got what? On the large targets I've got 9, 14, I got 18 big targets I can shoot at. And if you put like, you know, 3 or 4 in each one, you got 100 rounds you can shoot. So you don't really, and then you do these twice. One for the upper and one for the lower clamps. And you can shoot all day without ever having to change targets. Now here are some more targets I've done. Some are, you know, they're all different. It just depends on what I feel like shooting that day. And that's how it works. Then you just clip them onto the thing and away you go. Now, having said that, making my own targets, if you aren't inclined to do this yourself, make your own targets. Let me get all these straightened off of here. You don't want to make your own targets, but you want to use the shoot and see or the sticky backs or whatever. You can do it this way. I do these every once in a while, usually for other people. Those are all shoot and see targets on there, and I've got 2 of them, so you can put them up on the same thing. That takes care of those. And you can do it also on large ones. I don't think I've got to go get a large one because there's none here. And you know, like the one I showed you before was all sticky back. And you can do them like this. Or like that. These are 1-inch squares, these are 1/2-inch squares. So that gives you an idea, another way of doing them. Or, I don't think you're going to be able to see the whole target on these, but it'll give you an idea. These are sticky back. Whoop. These are sticky back. These are all done on black. Here's another one. little bit different. And this is one that I drew for when I sight in at like 200-300 yards. And there you go. I mean, you can do all kinds of things with it if you want to take the time. I mean, it took me 20 minutes to draw that. No big deal. Okay? There's all kinds of ways to do them with the foam core. You're only limited by your imagination, put it that way. And I guess that's actually about it. I don't really have anything else to talk about on them. Well, you can use poster board and then tape it onto the foam core. The nice thing about the foam core is you can use it over and over and over again. And I've got a bunch of stuff here that I actually drew. You can paste all of these on there. These are all the same. That's one. You can do them in neon poster board like that. Now these little bullseyes are actually those Avery stickers, and there's all kinds of those. There you go. They're not exactly centered, but that's, you know, these are just for plinking. These are not for any accuracy or anything. And then you can go to larger ones. There's a bunch of them. I've got tons of these. I give these away. In our shooting club, I give them to guys that want them. I made these a long time ago, before I came up with the idea of using foam core, when I was sticking them all onto cardboard. I was using their target stands out at the range, and it's just, you know, it's just one thing after another. There's all kinds of ways of doing these things, different layouts, different targets, whatever. Like I say, it's just a matter of using your imagination, or whatever it is you want to shoot at. And this is what I've developed over the last couple of years. It's been fun, and I like to do it. I've got a lot of time on my hands. I don't have much of a life. I'm being retired, and at my age, sit around a lot. I don't watch TV that much. So this is what I do. Okay? Now on the targets, when I take targets out to the range, I have a great big file here that I bought. And it just opens up, and you have different separations for different kinds of targets, as you can see. And I just take that out with me if I don't do them beforehand. And I take this out whenever we have shooting meets, and I furnish all the targets for the shooting meets. Okay, well, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed it. Make an old man happy and subscribe, and we'll see you later. Bye bye.